This is Sims, and we're back with more Colorette's Malice Unlimited. And we are going to do the side story that opened up for Minagishi now, since we finished Sasazuka's Rent Laws part. But look what I figured out after the end of the last one, right? You can skip through and you can see all your boys, right? Okay, and you get to their things. But look, every time you go, okay. They all have short stories. Wait a minute. Oh my god. Because I was flipping through, and the first time I got past, like, they're totally different. Because I was, like, flipping through, and I was like, okay, let's go back, and then, oh my god, there's so many characters that you get short stories for. Because the first time when I did it, it was, what's his name? And, like, Mochita. And I was like, Mochita has a side story? All of them do! Oh my god! We haven't even gotten through the rotation. The only thing is it doesn't skip through. You know what I mean? You have to like, and it's random. Cause like I've seen those ones before. It's kind of random. There you go. Like Mochita. And I was like, wait, what? And I went back and it's random whose you get when you go back. There's no order to it. That is fucking amazing. That is fucking amazing. There's so many. Okay, so I don't know how to get to this other one. Oh. This is everything else, but the thing is like, you know what I mean? But like, you still have to keep doing that. That's so weird. But you can't get to their short stories. Option? Oh, new memory, I'm sure. Duh. You know what? I always feel like new memory is new game. You know? So, yeah, see? Wait, there's 6. Oh my god, there's so many of these. And then this is the Adonis storyline. There's so much fucking shit in this game! Okay, this game is gonna take us fucking forever. I'm not even gonna lie. I thought for sure, like, okay, you got like 5 or 6. I'm like, we can probably get 20 to 30 hours. And then I was like, well, if each one takes 6, like, maybe it's for like 40. It's going to take longer than that because that Adonis story is going to be several fucking hours at least. And I was only thinking, well, if like all the side stories, like all these ones were only like an hour. But I also was thinking Adonis story was one of them. And there was a 6th one in here that I don't know about, which wasn't in the thing. Plus, then you got all those other... I mean, those little side stories took like 5 minutes to read, so we could probably read everybody's. But it's kind of annoying because there's like... Well, unless that's part of the Adonis stuff. You know what I mean? If it unlocks each character. It's kind of weird, though, how they have it in the menu. Where you have to keep switching back and forth, like, Yanagi and back, or Shiraishi and forward. Like, to get to everyone... Because you're going to miss somebody. Because there's not a set order. And it's like that one... other, but you can't skip through. Even if you go to other, you can't just skip through all of them. So it's going to be kind of hard. So I don't know how, unless there's another way to do it, which we'll figure out. But if you have to keep doing that, that's going to be like, we're going to be here all fucking day trying to figure out if we missed anybody. You know? I feel like that was a poor way of doing it. But anyway, story new. The sweep of Adonis was a rousing success, and by February, the X-Date incidents were coming to a close. Seiji Minagishi is told of a directive to disband the investigation's HQ by Morioka. The X-Date incidents have ruined public trust in the police. As a division commissioner, Minagishi was the face of the failure, so this hurt his pride. Oh, poor little baby. Yes. Ooh, but we get to kind of first half. Ooh, interesting. Side story. We have to click this to keep going, I guess so. February 12th, 9:18 a.m. The Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department oversees the 102 police departments in Tokyo. It's located right in front of the Imperial Palace and on the first floor. I'm not sure if we're supposed to be us or for him in this one. I know in some of the other ones it's their perspective. You know what I mean? We might be him. Because I know in Kazuki's story and Yoshinari's story where it's their perspective, so this might be his perspective. I'm not sure. But that's going to be sad. We don't get to look at it. I want to see his sprite. You know what I'm saying? But anyway. Morioka had like a deep, hearty voice, didn't he? Minagishi, taking over Suzuki's case. Oh, we do get to see him! Both of them, they're both actually really hot. Why didn't we get a Morioka around like at all? Is it because he's a single dad? Look, I'm not a fan of kids, but the man's kind of hot. In a cut over the shit kind of way, you know? I'm just saying. And Minagishi's hot in the, like, you just do everything that you're told and you're kind of like an accountant in a way. Like a nerd kind of way, but I love him anyway. Anyway. Ah, we are him, so I kind of forget the voice I just gave myself Suzuki's route. It's kind of annoying me. Anyway. Division 1's respected Chief Morioka tossed those words at me. Seiji Minagishi, to my surprise. Seiji, yeah. Seiji. Morioka, did I hear that correctly? Yeah, you're taking over Suzuki's case. His motivation is fine, but it's too hard for him to handle. I'm over this shit. I'm too old for this. I pressed my finger to the middle of my brow. I then turned to look out the window and gave him a quiet smile. The X-State incidents that happened last year are considered to be the most heinous crimes since the war. Adonis's hideout within Shinjuku has been breached, but many surviving members are still at large. That's correct. And? Even though things have calmed down, I still have a mountain of other work to attend to. Don't worry about that. You're excellent at going far and wide, but staying shallow. That's not a compliment. That's the greatest compliment for your position. It's a skill that a leader must have. His voice is going to be all over the place because I can't. Look, I'm preparing for the Enomoto voice, but I'm broken. I can't do it anymore, so I did my best to resist, but Morioka just nodded deeply and patted my shoulder. Knowing him as compliment wasn't out of sarcasm. He was more than genuine about it. He heaved a little sigh and shrugged. I understand. However, if I were to take on the case, I'm sure that Inspector Suzuki wouldn't take kindly to it. Oh, there's something about that. I agree that Suzuki probably wouldn't want to pass his own case on to someone else. But our job isn't about making friends. If you delay solving a crime because you're worried about an individual's pride, it insults the bereaved. You're absolutely correct. We wanted to solve crimes as fast as possible. It was true that mistakes shouldn't happen in investigations, but being overly careful risked delaying the outcome and tying up personnel. In my humble opinion, you don't have to solve everything. It's important just to get a resolution to the incident itself. Inspector Suzuki was a capable officer, but he was also stubborn and inflexible. Morioka probably knew that when he threw this case over to me. People have said that he's considerate and kind-hearted, but he has sharp judgment when it came to these things. Veterans or rookies, experience didn't matter if making progress on the case was the primary objective. And then again, if that wasn't a factor in matters, he couldn't be the chief of Division 1. I know that you're busy. If it were up to me, I'd like to have given you a vacation. Thanks, I guess. You're the business person? Oh, you're the business person in all of Division 1, so it's hard for me to accept that when it's coming from you. Can't be helped. Well, if you can't find the time for them, please delegate some of your current cases to your subordinates. The X-Day incidents? Yeah, although everything's not fully resolved, X-Day's certainly been stopped. Most of the executives and executioners were arrested. The remnants are unable to do anything organized. It's about time that you pass it on to others. Whoa, I suppose you're right. You don't sound very sure about that. Something worrying you. What are you doing, Bird? Actually, keep flying around like that. It's a nice breeze. No. The higher-ups are already talking about disbanding investigation headquarters. When the incident's resolved, keeping investigation HQ around is already a special case situation. I see. And so in the eyes of the higher-ups, the incidents are already a shut case. To be more precise, they want it to be shut. I'm sure that's the police chief Takeda's opinion on it. Takaeda's. I understand the reasoning behind it. The Shinjuku's quarantine to capture the terrorists was akin to surgery to remove the cancerous growth that had been growing within Tokyo. If the treatment continued, that'd cause long-term social and economic harm. That was why the government wanted to make a big show and a grandiose announcement that the incidents had been resolved. That's to be expected. No objection to the police's direction on that. With Adonis destroyed, the incidents were resolved, and life was certainly much safer. The substitution killings that Adonis facilitated used implanted chips to give directions to their executioners. We're about to track down the sources that funded... I feel like we're missing a line. Funded that, but because those chips also like the memories of the arrested executioners, we had many unresolved questions. And there was still the matter of an agent training facility that was supposedly run by Adonis. When our hideout was breached, we arrested a number of members, and we obtained a lot of information suggesting that the actual locations were said to be scattered around the nation, so there were a lot of questions regarding them. Although we made many arrests, those people are still espionage specialists. I wonder technically where this comes up. You know what I mean? Because, like, everyone else is, they branch off the good ending for their routes. The Adonis one will branch off of one of the bad endings. This branches up which ending, technically? I mean, I guess it's just everything is resolved, but we'll pretend we didn't date anyone, because I don't think we had an ending where we were, like, single independent woman, because that's stupid. I don't play Atome games to be a single independent woman at the end or have all my friends die. That's kind of bullshit. I mean, yeah, maybe in, like, a bad ending, but not in, like, a quote-unquote good ending. Who wants that bullshit? I'm already a single independent woman. It kind of sucks sometimes. I want my hot boyfriends. That's why I play these games. Anyway. It was possible that there were still moles in the government or even the police. And with as many loose ends, it was too early to announce that everything had been resolved. Is it possible this was a case of me not wanting to let go of the case I was directly involved in? You look like you have something to say. It's not like you to get so emotional. No, there's no issue. I won't object to orders from the higher-ups. But please tell me the details later. I have to go to Shinjuku Station right now. All right. I'll make the preparations to transfer Suzuki's case to you. The transfer of X-Day incidents can take place when you feel the time's right, but you should let it go before your sentiments start to interfere with your work. Yes. I bowed to Morioka and walked outside into the cold. Yes. Covering everything wasn't always the proper course of action. As long as the safety of the people is ensured, the remaining mysteries are trifling matters. And the X-Day countdown has been stopped with the dismantling of Adonis. Those incidents have been terminated, and the case was ready to be passed on. But I want to see it through to its end. Maybe this was due to my own personal pride. Morioka sure was sharp. He saw that I was getting too emotional over the X-Day incidents. It's because the girl you love in this technical thing was collared! Oh, we could have died! I know. He worried that my possible obsession would affect the other cases under my purview. It's not like me. I let out a white breath filled with my hesitation as I headed to the Shinjuku Station. Oh, it's me! February 12th, 11:47 a.m. Hello, this is Special Regions Crime Prevention Office.
Hello, is this the right number to call about stuff dealing with the X-Day incidents? I heard that the quarantine on Shinjuku is about to be lifted, but when's that going to be?
Oh, we can't tell you the exact date and time that's going to happen. I'm terribly sorry for the inconvenience, but please wait for further announcements. Yes, I understand. Block 6 behind the park, right?
I'm sorry, Hoshino. I hate to suspect your neighbor, but I was just so worried.
Not at all. It helps with crime prevention when you report to us, no matter how small the tip is. If you notice anything else, please feel free to contact us anytime.
Yes, thank you. Please take care of it.
Urgency low. Location, 6th block of Shinjuku. Type, suspicious person report. The terrorist group Adonis had been destroyed, and 2 months had passed since the arrest of the executioner of the X-Day incidents. Those of us stationed at Shinjuku Station were tasked with cleanup related to the incidents. At this pace, we won't have year-end holidays. But still, unlike other departments, work at SRCPO wasn't much different from when the incidents were ongoing. We dealt with daily reports of petty crimes while gathering possible leads on Adonis. We cooperated with the Public Safety Division to assist with crime prevention. Our direction and workload hadn't changed. Phew! I finished entering the call report through the PC and saw Mochita stand up while turning his head.
Well, let's take a break, Hoshino. Seems like the calls are finally dying down.
Good work today, Mochita. There sure were a lot of calls today.
Yeah, during the X-Day incidents, I was hoping to resolve it all just so I'd be freed from all this work. I never imagined that it'd get much busier after it was resolved.
That just shows how desperately people want to get the quarantine lifted. About 60% of the calls I had today were questions about the lifting of the quarantine.
It was the same on my end. People trying to make bullet train reservations or wondering when trains would be stopping in the city again.
Well, she sighed, so I laughed a little in response. I directed those calls to special hotlines, but there were still questions and complaints of X-Day incidents that went straight to SRCPO. People were happy when the direct number became known to the public.
They really need to... Again, Tim.
Jesus! But it was difficult for SRCPO to properly determine the content of the call and then properly
do something. We lost a line, because whatever.
I wonder if you can... Oh, here we go! Properly divert it to the right departments all the time.
Didn't even think of that with the other line before, but that's okay.
I think it'll be a while until things calm down, but at least the calls aren't as harsh anymore.
It's been 10 months since Adonis' first criminal announcement. Now that the countdown isn't looming, people are starting to lighten up.
The X-Day incidents are over. Hearing that repeated by other people made me gaze out the window.
Okay, here's the thing. So, like, in some ones, it's like hearing that repeated by other people made me gaze out the window. On the next line, you're like, it could have fit in this box. Like, this could fit in the box. But sometimes they'll break it off into two. And yet, then you have the ones like before where it's like 40 lines and they don't break it into a next one. And you're like, you're trying to tell me that all of that in Japanese fit in one box. Because literally, hearing that that would have taken up 16 lines in Japanese. It's more in Japanese to say the same damn shit that you're saying in English half the time, okay? There's just so much more to it. So, like, you're trying to tell me that all of that fit in, because I don't, or you just expounded on it. I don't know. Make the type smaller. Figure it out, but, like, come on.
Mochita, the X-Day incidents really have ended, right?
Huh? Why would you ask that out of the blue? They're not completely resolved, but all the major suspects have been arrested. Adonis has been crushed and the quarantine will be lifted. You can say it's over for now.
Right. Just didn't feel quite real to me. I put my hand over my neck. I felt the warmth of my skin and the rising and falling in sync with my breathing. The cold collar that had bound me was no longer there. I should consider myself blessed for still being able to work as a police officer. During December of last year, a group who called themselves Adonis had placed a collar around me and told me to seek the truth behind the X-Day incidents. Tell the police and I'll kill you. Those words confined me, so I relied on people outside the police force and conducted my investigation in secret. But the X-Day incidents continued to happen, and the victims continued to increase. The executioners were arrested, but as soon as they were in custody, their memories were erased. Again, I felt so helpless and impatient. Then, when tensions rose, I made my decision. I decided to tell the police everything. It was obvious that I'd just impede the progress of the police if all their actions were relayed through the collar, and if I was being led by it. Of course, that went directly against the threat and endangered my life. But Sasuzuka and many others helped me. Thanks to that, the collar was removed, and moreover, Investigation HQ believed me and managed to corner Adonis.
See, like that, and moreover, you know, like that one word could have fit on that line, and then and yet you have one where you have like 4 sentences over the box. Oh yeah, okay. Look, I know. On one hand, okay, we need a little bit. You need to edit a little bit better, and not when you're like half asleep. On the other hand, if we get more games localized, and I got to deal with this, cool, fine, have fun with that. You go right ahead and not do your job. It's cool, fine. Just get more games localized. If we got to deal with this, we'll deal with this. Okay, just saying. But if you're gonna like not localize a ton of games, I expect better. We're getting 3 this year, starting from when this came out to like the end of the year. So okay, I'll forgive your crappy editing skills. Okay, I'll forget them. It's gonna drive me bonkers and keep mentioning. But again, I'd rather see them than not have the games localized. But we get this kind of shit editing and like just terrible kind of weirdness and words missing and all this stuff, and we only get like 1 game maybe a year. I'm gonna flip my desk, okay? Because that's bullshit. Yeah. My actions weren't punished. Rather, they were highly praised. I was able to continue on active duty as a police officer thanks to the help of so many people. Yes, I no longer had to suffer under the threat of imminent death. Now that Adonis was finally crushed, I was released from that fear. I, as well as the city of Shinjuku, I, as well as the entire city of Shinjuku. I read that wrong. I was like, this doesn't seem to flow. Okay. An entire morning of speaking to people over the phone was sure to make your throat hurt, especially in winter. I still had some time on my break, so I should go buy some tea and throat drops. Just as I was about to go out, I was summoned to the reception desk. Hoshino, hello. Oh, it was him. Okay, I thought it was somebody else. Anyway, oh, Minagishi, hello there. I didn't realize you were here today. Yes, I came to check in on Investigations HQ. I have to show my face here once in a while, or people here will start to think I'm the most useless commissioner. The investigation headquarters for the X-Day incidents was headed up by Commissioner Minagishi. He led the force while on site at Shinjuku Station. With the incidents partially resolved, some of the public facilities have partially lifted the travel that kept people inside Shinjuku. That meant that he was able to go to the Metropolitan Police Department more. Okay. I hadn't seen Minagishi for 3 days or so. I hear that they've got you going back and forth between here and the Metropolitan Police Department. Yes, the X-Day incidents have calmed down, so I'm able to take care of other things now. Hoshino, how have you been since the incidents? Oh, incident-related reports have been reduced, but in exchange, a lot of people's pent-up frustration seems to have erupted.
What you doing? You playing with your toy? He's so loud. He's so cute, though.
I'm sure you can hear it, it's very loud. That's also a problem, but I was also asking about you personally. Aw, precious, you're shy and awkward around me, it's cute. Huh? You were directly contacted by Adonis, but you were the only one that was allowed to live. Oh. I subconsciously covered my neck with my hand. The person who placed the collar on me had still not been discovered. Okay, so Sayaki's still running around on this one, okay. If that person had managed to escape and was part of the Adonis remnants, they could try to make contact with me. Commissioner Minagishi's worry was understandable. I understood that he was worried about what I did afterwards, so I looked down. Nothing in particular has happened. I managed to wring those words out of me, but Minagishi widened his eyes and laughed dryly. I'm sorry, I didn't intend for that to be an interrogation. I was just wondering about your mental state. Huh? You went through quite a bit during the X-Day incidents, and considering that, I doubt that you've completely stabilized. No, I'm fine. You were a great help to me during those troubled times. I didn't do anything. I think that Sasazuka and many others offered much more direct assistance to you. Yes, I intend to go and thank them again another time. Aww. Oh, poor Shiraishi, our precious little baby. He has a special place in my heart because he's in The Sims. Sasazuka technically was made in The Sims, but he's not in anything. But Shiraishi is just like a main character out there, isn't he? They were a mysterious group of people who gathered to uncover the truth behind the X-Day incidents, the detective agency. They took great care of me, and it was thanks to their efforts that the X-Day incidents were solved. They'd all gone their separate ways. I really just kind of wish Okazaki was like peeking his head in through the window, like stuck outside, because I mean, he was technically included in this group. They kind of forget him. Sasazuka returned to the line of duty and went to the Metropolitan Police Department. I heard that Yanagi and Enomoto were working hard to run an actual detective agency now. Shiraishi had taken a long-term vacation and disappeared off to somewhere. Okay, so I'm assuming, like, Minagishi's kind of spin-off is kind of like, say, similar to where Sasazuka's... Because, like, in Sasazuka's, Sayaki's still free because we never figured out who he was. You know what I mean? Like, Shiraishi is off. We don't know where he is because we didn't know he was involved. So, like, each one of theirs kind of had, oh, he resolved the stuff, right? If I remember correctly. I'm just assuming based on what's happening here. But didn't actually resolve, like, oh, we resolved it, but we didn't. And each other one, it was like resolving more. You get more, you know? Because you, like, learn more of the story. But it's not like Sasazuka stopped and it was like, well, I guess we're going to keep investigating X-Day. It's like there was still some kind of a resolution. I think it was based on the case that you reviewed with them, right? So, maybe. But anyway, so Minagishi's is more like the Sasazuka where we have no idea Sayeki is 0. Shh. We don't know Shiraishi was a spy. Shh. You know? It's so weird when you're playing this, you're like, Shiraishi's not in prison? Oh, right, he only went in prison in his route. Okay, fine. But Anyway, he took a long vacation and disappeared. When I thought of their faces, it brought many memories rushing back, which also explains why Shiraishi is like fucking nowhere in any of these except for this flashback, or like a mention of his name. He's nowhere. You don't run into him at all. It's kind of sad. It feels so strange. It's only been 2 months since the incidents ended. That's right. And the quarantine won't be fully lifted for a while, so it's only natural that it doesn't feel like the incidents are over. I mean, we'll run into Shiraishi when we either probably go down Yanagi's common route, because we're going to go see Shiraishi in the pre-times, but that's probably going to be the first time we'll see him, so. I'm sure the people who live here feel the same. Right. We still get quite a few worried people who call into the SRCPO. After the destruction of the hideout, we were worried the Adonis survivors would cause some incidents. But that hasn't happened. Right. It seems that... Yoshino? I suddenly went quiet, which caused him to look at me suspiciously. He gently urged me to continue, so I nodded and continued on. If you look at the crime statistics, it's not just Adonis-related incidents. The crime as a whole has been on a decline. Because Adonis suppressed it. People were coming out and saying that. It was mainly occasional statements online that popped up here and there. Adonis had been slamming their hammer of justice on those they deemed to be evil. There were grudges at the foundation of it, although those were impermissible crimes. It still caused some criminals to fear for their lives, thereby creating the ripple effect of suppressing their activities. The validity of such statements were still being debated online. I see. So according to these theories, thanks to Adonis, overall crime decreased. When I see posts that claim that Adonis was on the side of justice, I have mixed feelings. Legally and ethically, there's no doubt that Adonis was on the side of evil. I'd say that there's a kernel of truth to Adonis being a force for justice. Huh? And the people that they murdered had done some dark things in their past. Ethics and laws aside, I'm sure they targeted those people believing in their own justice. But their actions are simply vigilante justice. The school bombing and the murders related to the online game weren't targeting people that deserved death. That's true, he was responsible for the bomb. Akito, my poor precious Akito! Because they bullied his sister into committing suicide. Oh. I've never held so much vengeance in my heart that I never want to murder others. So I didn't empathize with how deep the suspect's wounds ran. Even still, we lived in a society and we were a lawful nation. If we allowed vigilante justice fooled by emotion, there was no point in having a police force. I can't believe that grotesque creation could ever be on the side of justice. All the videos that were uploaded online, remembering those bloody sights made me ball my fists. He saw my reaction and smiled a little. Oh, that's right, Hoshino. Their standard of judgment is far too arbitrary. It's entirely subjective. If everyone can exact revenge according to their own standards, society would devolve into a downward spiral of never-ending vengeance. Exactly. And that's why even if Adonis had been meting out judgment according to their own form of justice, meting out just as well. From the moment they executed their extrajudicial justice, they violated the laws of our nation. They're outlaws. Slowly but surely, Minagishi said these decisive words while gently putting his hand on my shoulder with a smile. It looks like I have difficulty expressing things. I'm not justifying what Adonis did. However, there will undoubtedly be a few people who find salvation in deeming those outlaws to be on the side of justice. Even though Adonis is now destroyed, you can't deny the possibility that they'll simply create the next Adonis. And that's why we, as police, must learn to understand the psychology of the people who agree with Adonis. Right. Please be more confident in yourself. You did the right thing. Thank you. I saw that he was smiling, trying to reassure me. Now that I thought about it, it's not the first time I've talked so openly with Minagishi. Restlessly, I opened my mouth to speak, but restless. You're amazing, Minagishi. You're always so logical about this. You're so dependable and reassuring. Oh, well, now we're just stroking his ego. If a boss is wishy-washy, their subordinates won't know what to believe in. He said that jokingly, but then Minagishi followed up with something else that sprung to his mind. You said I was amazing earlier, but I honestly think you're far more amazing. We're gonna make out now? Huh? Me?
Yes. You didn't realize it yourself? You had a collar placed on you by Adonis in an X-Day incident. Your life is in their hands. A normal officer or a normal person would have leaked the internal police information and served as an Adonis spy. You were constantly under a threat on your life while you still fought them. It's not something that any person could do. He's not wrong. Pretty amazing. Moreover, because you put your trust in your superiors on the police force, we were able to capture Adonis. I should be thanking you instead. Minagishi, you and the rest of the investigation HQ believed in me. Because you gave me direction on what to do with the collar on me, you allowed me to find the way out of the situation I was placed in. You're modest, but also quite stubborn. Sorry, but I didn't do this on my own. I think it's because the perpetrator didn't intend to kill me right away. That's the only reason it worked out the way it did.
You know what's really fucking... I feel like it's a slap in the face. Maybe that's why they didn't technically give you a Sayaki route. Because in all of these, like, yeah, we have no idea who put the collar on me and blah, blah, blah. And then you're falling in love with literally every other fucking character thrown at you. It would have been funnier if they had given you a fucking a Morioka route and like this everybody else. And then Sayaki's like, fucking seriously? Everyone around you but me? It's actually kind of fucking funny if you think about it. He's like, what? Everyone except for Mochida. Yeah, but he's married. If he wasn't, probably would have gotten around too. It's actually fucking hilarious. Poor Sayaki, he's sitting in the corner like, I swear to God. That's what happens when you put a collar on a bitch. We don't like it. We're gonna date everybody else. Oh. If they said something like, be our mold or we'll kill you immediately, and that's just a hypothetical. It's a fact that your courage and judgment helped restore peace to Shinjuku. And because you were the one that had the collar placed upon them, it led to the solving of the crime. When you put it like that, it made me feel a little embarrassed. I just happened to have the collar placed on me, and things just happened to move in a good direction. I was unable to meet his gaze, so I turned away. However, Minagishi continued on. Why did it have to be you? Huh? Minagishi looked at me and closed his mouth while appearing deep in thought. Why did it have to be me? That was a question I'd asked time and time again. In the end, I never found a reason why I was chosen for the collar. We know. Minagishi? Shinjuku Station SRCPO to all departments. This is an emergency. Location is the 6th block of Shinjuku, East Okubo Park. A call came in from a public telephone. The report appeared to be from a young girl. She reported that she ran away and was at the risk of being killed. All vehicles patrolling near the area approached the area immediately. I guess we should have actually sounded like a normal person and like not like tour guide Spacey, but hey, it's kind of funny. I repeat, the location is Shinjuku, Block 6. Minagishi, the announcement! Yes, we have no time to waste. I'll head to the department. Yes. I'm gonna go kick some ass! Woo! February 12th, 3:52 p.m. The Shinjuku 6th block student abduction incident. In this abduction case, given the temporary name, all became the police call. Given that temporary name, all became the phone call. I ran away from the kidnapper. He made me killed. Others besides me were taken. The girl called in an emergency with a scared voice. Masanobu Mochida of SRCPO. Perhaps something happened immediately after she spoke, as her call was cut short. And they looked up the girl and learned that she was an 8th grade girl who had been reported missing last night. The panicked victim seemed to indicate that there were multiple victims. The police chief declared that this was an emergency. An investigation HQ was quickly set up at Shinjuku Station, and the person placed in charge was I, Seiji Minagishi. Seiji Minagishi. Sounds so funny with those that. Oh, hi. Oh, look at you. You're precious and I love you. I love this. We get CGs. We got Minagishi CGs. It's going to be hard to find his stuff in the thing. You have to keep going back for it, in the others. But anyway. All hands, please report your findings. First, what's the current investigation status? The call was from public phone in the East Okubo Park. We arrived at the scene 6 minutes after the call, but the suspect and victim were nowhere to be found. There are no surveillance cameras in the area. We gained no useful information from the convenience store 300 meters away. The crime scene investigation is as the report says. Okay. Sakuragawa, if you will, please.
Yes, I'm Sakuragawa of Forensics. And the crime scene investigation yielded no personal effects. Fingerprints of the victim were found on the phone booth and the phone receiver. We checked for footprints at the scene and found some that matched the loafers designated by the school the victim would have attended. Footprints. Footprints left behind at the crime scene can be crucial evidence in an investigation. The size and type of shoe that left the prints can be key pieces of information. The scuffs on the soles or debris that they picked up can occasionally link someone to a crime scene. CSI or field support typically send these to forensics for further investigation. There were some domestic sports sneaker footprints found thought to be that of the suspect. There was some possible evidence of dragging marks, and given the way they stopped at the curb, we believe the victim was placed in a vehicle and taken away. Please tell me of your opinion of the image of the suspect and the size of the prints or other information. It's fine if you need to speculate. The sneaker size is 26.5. From the depth of the prints, it's likely that our suspect is an adult male of medium build. The forensics is currently identifying the properties of the objects stuck on the shoes. I understand. Please share the results of those tests once you have them. And next, what about the GPS location of the victim's cell phone? How far have you traced? Last night around 1810, the GPS cut off near the alleyway close to the victim's school. The victim had just finished her club activities, and that matches the time she returns home. There's little doubt that's the crime scene. So her cell phone was destroyed there to prevent her from being tracked? And no, it's likely that it was just turned off. A ransom demand to her family was called in using the victim's phone. That's a pretty bold move. So where was the location on that call? Route 318. They demanded 5 million yen. After saying they'd call in the handoff location later, the phone was shut off again. And then the suspect must be constantly moving to mask their location. It's possible that it's camouflage, but it'll be easier to find if the vehicle's on the move. We've started to narrow down the type of vehicle using surveillance footage and tire tracks, but we haven't gotten to referencing the end system. End system? A system that automatically reads the license plates of automobiles. Japan police have set this up on the roads to automatically read license plates to locate people or stolen vehicles. Or those fucking assholes who drive down the highway and blast through the toll booths and don't pay. Actually, I mean, that's what a lot of toll roads use now. Well, whatever. I mean, I don't know what the system's called, but they, cameras, photograph your license plate and send you a bill, and you don't even have to stop. No toll booths. Keeps traffic moving. But then you don't know you're on a fucking toll road sometimes. You're like, what the fuck is this? Or you forget 6 months later, what the fuck is this? By the way, you have 2 hours to pay or you're fucked. Oh, dicks. While listening to each of the reports, I flipped through the write-ups. And there were many factors to help narrow things down, but there wasn't anything definitive to identify the suspect. According to eyewitness testimony in the area near the public telephone where the victim made the emergency call, the OTA team is currently on it. Even during the daytime, there isn't much traffic near the park. What about the alley believed to be the location of the kidnapping? We don't have any promising leads, but we're currently creating a portrait from some testimonies from people who witnessed suspicious individuals. There should be some witnesses. Let's add some more personnel to investigate. The little old lady, didn't she call about that? I heaved a little sigh while thinking about the placement of personnel. Whether or not the X-State incidents ended, crime won't vanish from this world. It was naive of me to think that Adonis wielding their own hammer of justice was going to suppress other unrelated crimes. There were countless people in this world that acted upon malice, and that ran much deeper than Adonis. And there are those who just want to hurt others. These were crimes that faced the police day in and day out. Yes, we had no time to be fixated on the incidents of the past. And this wasn't out of conceit. It was because there are many open cases that could be solved if we work on it. No. And this will lead to the safety of the people. I should throw out all personal preferences. Even though I told myself that, there was still something stuck in my heart. That could likely be... Me? Here I am! That could likely... Something stuck in my heart that could be... There she is. He's in love with Mochita, isn't he? Mochita looks like my fucking dad, okay? Can I just... That's why we'd never get around with Mochita. Aside from the fact that he's happily married. He's, happily married. He's,
him and the way he talks about his wife is like the perfect little couple, right? But he's like my dad. He looks like my dad. So, Mochita's dad. He's our dad friend. Anyway. Excuse me. Oh, this is Mochita from the SRCPO. Hoshino of the same department. After a knock, the door opened. I saw two familiar faces at the entrance.
Hoshino?
Is that supposed to be the guy that... Wasn't he in, what's his face? Wasn't he in Enomoto's route? Wasn't he Enomoto's buddy?
No, he's the one that's too shit for this.
Well, I don't know if that's supposed to be he's Investigator B. He doesn't have a... He had a real name, but I don't know what it is. Anyway, what's SRCPO doing here? Thought investigations were part of your jurisdiction. Oh, Satake. Oh, you know what? I probably should have realized that was... I didn't recognize his name, and if they had showed him, I probably would have realized. So we gave him just a normal voice. I was like, that's weird. That guy's got a freaking name, as opposed to just like, Guy A. I should have remembered it. Look, there's a lot of characters in this game, and it's been a while since I played the original. I don't remember all of them, okay? I remember some of them and their names, but I did not remember Satake. Anyway. No, I called them here. Okay. Satake, you did? Hey, that's our CPO members. You need to tell us what you were discussing earlier. Hoshino and Mochita's gaze turned to us. Satake and I both know that neither of us do anything without a reason. And the fact that he called them here must mean that they had to help solve the crime. Very well, Officers Mochita and Hoshino, if you will, please. Yes, the report is as follows. Today, February 12th at 12:30 p.m., SRCPO received a report. The caller was an 81-year-old woman. She called in about a suspicious person. Hoshino continued with the report rather nervously while Mochita followed up with supplementary information. At a residence 2 doors down from the caller, there was a man in his 30s that had stopped leaving his home after being bullied at middle school. The caller had known the man since his childhood and had been worried about him for a long time. However, the man recently purchased a car and had begun leaving his home. Oh my god, is he kidnapping kids that are bullied? That in itself is nothing strange. But then when the woman greeted him, he was obviously agitated and appeared to run away. The man's parents had passed away years ago, and he'd been living alone since. She heard the voice of a young girl coming from inside his home. What's the caller's address? It's near the 6th block of Shinjuku by East Okubo Park. It's a bit early to tie this to the incident, but I don't think this is merely coincidence. I was seriously wondering about it, so I asked him to come here. It's true that the pieces are falling into place too much for it to be coincidence. If I were wrong, that's fine too. Oh, if we're wrong, that's fine too. I nodded to determine the direction of the investigation. I looked around the room to give detailed directions. Sergeant Kageyama Shinozaki? Kageyama Shinozaki. Cooperate with SRCPO to verify the information. Kageyama Shinozaki. Sergeant Kageyama Shinozaki. Those are two different people. There's a comma there. Anyway. Understood. Mochita and Hoshino. My brain doesn't want to it's like Mochita, Hoshino. Mochita, Hoshino. Please share all your information with them. Yes. Hoshino's already created the report. I think we can get it circulated to everyone quickly. All hands, cooperate and ensure there are no loose ends. Report to me immediately if anything happens. All hands, go. Go! Go. He probably has a deliciously sexy voice. I mean, he's got to have a commanding voice. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be at least 2 hours. Wow. I mean, I'm just impressed. I mean, the weird thing is if it's too long, it's like there's no choices and it's too long. But it does move kind of like different perspectives. That helps it go a little faster. You know what I mean? Like we read his perspective, then we're our perspective, then we're his perspective, then we're our perspective. It kind of like breaks it up a little bit, makes it a little bit easier. And also, I mean, it could have just been like a fluffy little story, like, oh, we're kind of dating him and like whatever. But now we know we got like plot. There's a plot. We're saving people. Like, in retrospect, the middle school student abduction that occurred the other day was solved much quicker than expected. The perpetrator that was arrested was a man in his 30s who lived on the 6th block of Shinjuku. He'd been living on his parents' estate, but he had lost it all gambling. Suddenly in debt, he had kidnapped 2 young girls and attempted to collect ransoms for them. Huh. I thought maybe it was just like, I'm going to kidnap kids who are being bullied in school so they never have to deal with it because I was bullied and I'm like a shut-in and it's weird. But Either way, it's kind of crazy. He's like, I'm in debt. Let me buy a car and kidnap people. That's not really in depth for someone who doesn't leave their house. I don't think I would think of that, and I leave my house on occasion. Not often, but on occasion. The victims had no identifiable injuries. It appears that being stopped in the car while negotiating for the ransom proved beneficial. Thank goodness. The girl that managed to run away could have possibly enraged the suspect. HQ's quick and decisive response made sure that the suspect wasn't given time to return home. Oh, that's true, but quickly locating where the girls were being held led to their safe return. You did well, Hoshino. I didn't do anything. Just wrote up a report of the call made by the old lady. The only reason that call was made is because you continue to tell the people to report every little thing that they find suspicious. That means that your efforts paid off. You should be proud of that. Seeing Mochino smile happily made me crack a smile, too. If it's true, that would be great. Feels like what I did was recognized. You were recognized? Oh, it was Minagishi. I thought it was Sayeki popping in, because, you know, I feel like he should really pop in and be like, hey, and then fucking... And then Minagishi shows up and we're like, wow, we're in love with you. And Sayeki's just in the background like, really? I just want that because I just feel like it's kind of funny. I don't hate Sayeki, okay? I just think it's funny that they keep cock blocking this motherfucker with every other character. It amuses me. Minagishi. At ease, officers. I just happened to drop by, so don't mind me. Hello, Commissioner Minagishi. What brings you here? I wanted to thank you all. We were paid a surprise visit by Minagishi himself, who had just been leading the investigation earlier. Thanks? I smiled when sitting up straight, and then he suddenly bowed to us. Minagishi? The kidnapping was solved quickly only because of the information from the SRCPO. But without that information, the suspect might still be at large. We'd expected the worst possible outcome. I'd like to thank you again. Oh, wait, no. Please don't bow down to us. All we did was share information. Thanking us personally really isn't proper. This undeserved praise made me shrink up. I sensed the gaze of others, and I felt quite uncomfortable. Perhaps he sensed how we felt, because Minagishi snickered. I mean, it's not proper! It's so funny, because it's like, I mean, I guess it's a culture thing. Like, hi, I'm sorry. Even though I'm doing my job, and my mentality is doing my job, people are like, thanks, you did a great job. You're like, I just did my job. Oh my god, thanks for going above and beyond. I woke up and I rolled out of bed, I came to work and I typed some shit. It's my job to do that. Like, you know what I mean? But it's still nice when people are like, but you still do it to other people. You know, it's someone's job to answer. You're like, oh, I need you. Can you, like, give me this information? But yeah, sure. Oh, cool, thanks so much. I appreciate it. It's, in a way, if you ask them, I need your help in providing me this document or whatever, it's their job to give it to you. Like, it's their job to do it. Not be like, go fuck yourself, do it yourself. But you're still going to be like, thanks so much, I really appreciate it, you're awesome. You know, you appreciate and you thank people for their efforts, even though you know it's their job, and they're like, it's my job to do it. I'm the same way. People will thank me all the time for things, and I'm like, it's my job? But if they didn't, you'd be like, that's rude. It's weird. It's my job to do it. And it may be other people's job to do things, but you still thank them for it. So, like, this isn't a weird situation. I mean, yeah, maybe higher-ups are more like, oh, well, people should be doing it. But, like, decent human beings like Minagishi would be like, thanks for your help. And they're like, I mean, we're just doing our job. And you're like, yeah, but thank you for help. Like, there's nothing wrong with thanking people for doing their jobs. You know what I mean? And helping, even though it's their job to do it. Like, it's just so it's so funny that they're like, this is weird. Oh, God, I don't know how to deal with this. It's kind of cute. Perhaps he sensed how he felt, because Minagishi snickered. As for a commissioner, he's pretty charming and, like, fun. You know what I mean? He's not, like, stuffy and rigid. He's adorable. And there's nothing strange about it. I'm just doing the same as you. Same? As me? Yes, you constantly tell the people to report every little thing to assist the police with crime prevention. And gaining the trust of the people is also important. You also deal with them carefully. But, thank you. Much in the same way, the investigators and I also prioritize trust. If the top management has no trust, the sharing of information is hindered. And in that case, something just creates delays in the solving of crime. And it then just creates delays, maybe? It's supposed to be? It then just creates delays in solving in the solving of crimes. And the commissioner's main job is to create an environment where each member can shine. And those who go beyond their rank and role to assist in a successful investigation will be repaid with respect. And that's my motto. See, he's so lovely. This is why you're here to thank us, sir? Minagishi was unable to hide his surprise. Minagishi was wait. The words he gently spoke to us were sincere through and through. Normally, people felt a wall between them and the commissioner. Why? He's so nice. He's like literally been nice the whole time. It was concerning, I think, when we first played the game, because you're like, he's a nice... Is he shady? Because they're always shady. He was not shady. Anyway, there's no need to be so formal. I'm only here to thank you because you assisted us greatly. And that should be a given. Minagishi smiled innocently while Mochita and I could do nothing but squirm and flinch.
What you doing, Squeaky Birds? Did you knock him off his favorite spot? Are you being a bully? Are you just being a bully to the little baby bird? He's not the baby bird died, but he's the new bird, and he's a baby compared to you. Are you being a bully to him?
Yeah.
I know he's your birdie friend, but I feel like you're bullying him right now. You're like, let me chase him. Oh. Are you bullying him, or are you being nice to get out of his way? Oh, look at you. You just want to be by your birdie friend.
Sometimes he doesn't want to be very when he flies away. Fucking Neelix is a goddamn stage 5 clinger. Other poor bird is like, look, I just want to stare at myself in the mirror. And Neelix is like, but I want to bite your tail. I want to play with you. Hi. Bird's so clingy. Anyway. Minagishi smiled innocently while Mochita and I could do nothing but squirm and flinch. Okay. After perhaps about 10 minutes, Mochita's pregnant wife called, so Mochita headed out to the hallway. I was like, Mochita's pregnant. What? Okay. We finally loosened up the tension and continued talking with Minagishi there. Oh, then the investigation headquarters is going to be disbanded. Yes, because the incident was resolved so quickly, and there's no reason to keep it around. It was just so quick. It just was weird, considering the investigation headquarters for the X-Day incidents. An investigation HQ is created in response to an urgent crisis, and it's supposed to be disbanded immediately after the solving of the crime. And the X-Day Incidents Investigation HQ, that one was an exception among exceptions. Was? Something felt off from the way he described it in past tense. Minagishi continued on without changing expressions at all. It's funny, he's like the commissioner, right? Which is like pretty high up, and then it's like, they had to disband my group and I feel at a loss. I mean, I guess it's because you've been with those people for so long. You're like, oh, we're disbanding it. And you're like, I feel lonely. It's like, it's almost like he feels like, I'm getting fired, being demoted, but you're not. You're the fucking commissioner. Like, that's pretty high up, so. And some people already know about it, so I guess I should tell you as well, Hoshino. The X-Day Incidents Investigation HQ is on its way to being disbanded. Huh? The disbanding of the Investigation HQ for the X-Day incidents meant that the incidents are over. The investigators should be happy about it. Yet, I was at a loss for words and looked down. I wanted to be happy, but different emotions were mixed in, and I didn't know how to describe it. Hoshino, I know this is sudden, but... Yes? Kiss me? Maybe you thought it was strange because of the way I went quiet all of a sudden. I quickly looked up and our eyes met as Minagishi gently smiled at me. Oh my god, please ask me out. Oh! Huh! He's asking me to lunch. It's a lunch date. Oh my god. Okay. But I love him. If you hadn't had lunch yet, would you like to accompany me? Hell yeah. Minagishi guided me to a familiar place. This was the restaurant near the Shinjuku station that I used to go to. This place actually serves lunch, too. It's much more reasonably priced than at night, so I come here more often for lunch. Reasonable. That was from Minagishi's perspective. That description wasn't accurate for a lower-end grunt like myself. Like, hi, hey, moneybags. Oh, that's why you're so hot! It's not just the fact that, like, you know, you're kind of in charge of us. That could be awkward, but I'm gonna let that go. You got glasses, and you kind of look smart and nerdy. It's the suit. Okay. You can take charge of shit, and you probably make a fuck ton of money. Okay. Look, money makes everybody a little bit more attractive, okay? Like, the hottest person in the world, you're like, they're hot. And they're like, they are flat broke, destitute. You're like, not as attractive. That comes with a lot of problems, okay? Because, like, money can't buy happiness. That's bullshit! It can buy happiness, okay? Because then I don't have to be stressed out that I'm gonna like have my car repoed or you're in debt or oh my god, what happens if I fall and break my leg? I can't afford the hospital bills. I'm just saying, okay? No, it doesn't mean you're gonna be happy. It just affords you. It's easier to potentially be happy if you have money, okay, or you aren't flat fucking broke, okay? Look. We have all probably experienced the state of flat broke and I have not. Oh God, how am I going to eat this month? And then you have the other times where you're like, I feel comfortable and I don't feel like I have to worry about things. Oh. And let me tell you something. Not being stressed out about money is fucking happiness, okay? It does make it a little more attractive, but I still think it's kind of hot regardless. So, she's like, it's $6 for a sandwich. Perhaps he sensed that I was confused. Minagishi urged me to sit down as he said this. Don't worry, it's my treat. He's buying us lunch. Oh my god. Okay. You're gonna have to at least make out with him. It's not dinner time. If he bought you dinner, you'd have to have sex with him, but like, I'm kidding. You don't. You never have to have sex with anybody for buying you anything. I'm just saying, I would willingly have sex with him for buying you dinner, because, okay. No, you're a subordinate, a woman, and much younger. Oh, hi. There's no way I could allow you to pay with all these factors in play. Besides, I was the one who invited you to lunch. In a way, this is to thank you, also to hopefully date you. I hope you'll accept this treat out of respect for me. That's not fair. Sometimes the way you offer things, there's no way for me to refuse. Oh, you just noticed that now. Oh, hi. You should offer yourself to me so that I can't refuse. I liked this. I bowed in thanks, and then Minagishi sat next to me. My only means of resistance was to order the cheapest seasonal set lunch on the menu. While I was wiping my hands on a wet towel, Minagishi turned to me. Oh, it's a fancy restaurant if they give you hot towels, okay? Look, in America, that shit doesn't happen. We don't have hot towels if like, we don't even go wet naps to places, okay? It's a wet nap. That's some fancy shit. Look, if that place doesn't have fucking a paper towel sitting on the end of the table as if those are supposed to be your napkins, it ain't classy. Look, I like dive places. Okay, they're better. The food is better. Also, food from a truck. Fancy places, it's $32 and here's your one chicken nugget. Fuck that shit. Yes? Are you dating anyone right now? You. Excuse me? Are you or aren't you? No, I don't have anyone like that, but oh, thank God. Look, he's asking us out. I love it. She's being so awkward. I hope she's not too awkward about it because then it's going to make it seem weird. Shh, girl, let me have this. Let me see. That's good. What's that supposed to mean? Well, I should have considered this earlier. But if you were dating someone, it wouldn't be proper for me to be alone with you here. Oh, that's what you meant. Okay, that's cute. Like, I can go wherever the fuck I want. Again, hold on. I shook my head to rid my mind of that weird thought I had earlier. I then gave out a sigh. Minagishi took a sip of tea and seemed to sigh out of relief. This seems like the tensions have loosened up. Did you say that in relation to me? You did seem quite nervous. We're about to have lunch right now, so it'd be a waste if we were too tense to enjoy it. If anyone would be nervous when they're having a meal with you. You completely outrank me, and you're from the main office, and you're really sexy. She didn't say it, I added that last part. Oh yeah, push those glasses up, baby. I like it. I personally don't think about it that way, but it seems to be the norm. And there's always a divide between the regionals and headquarters. I see all of us as colleagues here with the common purpose of protecting the people of this nation. I wish that we were able to cooperate more. Cooperate more. I agree with that too. I hope we could be on more friendly terms. If you'd like, you can call it Mine Boy. And Minagishi. Huh? Oh, come on. Try it out. No. Mine Boy? No, we can't call you that. That sounds ridiculous. Anyway. Or simply Seiji would be okay too. I don't think that's a good idea. I see. It's too bad. I'd like to push for you to call me Seiji. I would also like to rather call you that than Mine Boy. You're enjoying this, aren't you? I'm only half kidding. He's a little sadistic. I like it. Minagishi is quite the playful person. He's also kind of mean. It doesn't come off as mean. It's a little like he's kind of. I mean, maybe a little. You just think he's mean because he's like he outranks you, and you feel like you have to do the things that he says, which is a little weird. But because he said these things out of nowhere, I did feel a bit more at ease with him. I thought he'd be somewhat unapproachable, but no, he's adorable. He was considerate, even to a bottom grunt like me, and spoke to me in such a friendly way. It's because he's trying to get in your pants, but I mean, I almost felt sorry that I had this image of him being unapproachable. I sipped on the soup that arrived at the table, and then I looked toward Minagishi again. Speaking of work, the kidnapper's objective was ransom money, right? Yes, although this doesn't sound good, it's a common type of kidnapping incident. Oh, we're at time. Okay, hold on. Our department was given the details. The ransom demand was pretty low. Maybe we can get through lunch? All right, it was an amount that would be acceptable for an ordinary family to pay out. And this is what it costs to save my daughter. There's less risk than letting the police know. And that's why he chose that amount. You're saying he set it that low to prevent the matter from going to the police? It's actually a rather sly method. In fact, the girl's father had already prepared the money and was ready to hand it over. I was about to say something, but changed my mind. As a member of the police force, I wish that the man would simply have relied upon us. But I couldn't honestly say that I didn't understand how the father felt. Get your daughter back safely and lose some money, or a risk that you call the cops and she ends up dead. Because you call, you know what I mean? That's the fear, and that's part of why people do shit without relying on the cops, is because of the fear. It's exactly as you're thinking. I can't blame the father for paying the ransom and not relying on the police. Normally people can't refuse when the life of a loved one's at stake. Nagishi reached for his tea and took a big gulp. He then quietly looks at me. However, you were different during the X-Day incidents. You mean with the collar? Yes, even after being trapped by the poisonous collar, you didn't flee or give up. You continued to strive to resolve the incident. I believe you're very strong-willed, almost to the point that I'm afraid of you. That was only because Yanagi and the others cooperated with me to take on Adonis. I said this before, but if I was all alone, I would have given up long ago. I see. So they were your emotional anchors. I looked at Minagishi's eyes, but couldn't figure out what he was thinking. He quietly put down his chopsticks. Oh, let's say Yanagi and the others weren't around. And since you were unable to rely on the police, I have to wonder what path you would have taken. I don't know. When it happened, I didn't really have the time to think about that. I couldn't let myself drag down the police, and I was desperate to find clues on the perpetrator while still meeting their demands. You were walking on a tightrope. The one wrong move and your life was in jeopardy. Yes, but I was in danger from the beginning. If the perpetrator made excessive demands, I would have taken a different approach. Meaning? If, for some reason, the perpetrator was trying to kill me, I would have been the only sacrifice. If the demands from the caller was trying to get me to undermine the police, those actions could lead to far more casualties. So there was an obvious wrong choice there. You could say that I was lucky because I could personally make the choice to refuse. You know what? That way of thinking is admirable. When police are expected to be self-sacrificial. However, I will say one thing. That there's no need to sacrifice yourself. He said that with a determined voice. He looked at me with an equally determined glare. Unlike the gentle demeanor he'd been showing, I sensed something, a clear sort of anger from his voice that pierced me. Police officers are still human, and that being the case, we also have the right to live. The police exist to protect the people. It isn't a contradiction if we're unwilling to. Isn't it a contradiction if we're unwilling to protect our own lives? I understand. I have no intention of sacrificing myself willingly. Obviously, I'm afraid of dying, and that's all the more reason that. But what I'm more afraid of is that someone without a choice will be hurt because of me. If I was hurt because of something I did, that's just a matter of personal responsibility. But if someone ended up getting hurt because of me, that would run contrary to the police's job of protecting others. I had thought about this long and hard, but Minagishi closed his eyes when he heard it. That's a surprise. It appears that you severely, wow, I can't speak today, undervalue yourself. I don't think that's true. Yoshino, I believe that you're much more valuable than you think you are. Me? Yes, getting the help of Sasuzuka is a good example of that. He slowly told me that in an attempt to convince me. They aren't bad people, but all of those men at the detective agency are particular in their own regard. And this might sound a bit rude, but they wouldn't readily accept you as you can easily conspire with the enemy. However, in retrospect, you were able to win their trust. That alone proved that you were valuable to them. Can you agree? Is that so? At the time, I was simply trying to do whatever I could. This part's going on way long. Sorry. Look, you're either, like, most people are like, we don't care, keep going. Yes, and I'm sure that your strong drive and will attracted them to you. Yes, I'm the same. Although your dedication makes you do some risky things, I'm also drawn to you. Perhaps that's why Adonis had chosen you as well. What do you mean? And there's a reason why you were chosen. At least, that's my theory. Remember what Minagishi said the other day. Why did it have to be you? Am I being suspected? After the collar was removed, I was placed under some intense interrogation. I answered everything honestly, but it was natural for them to doubt that I was with Adonis, considering the situation. I'm sorry. It seemed to have caused you to worry with my bad choice of words. When I tried to put together what to say, Minagishi smiled towards me. I'm not interrogating you. This is all purely out of my own personal interest. I'm sure there was no other need to explain. Minagishi pointed at the lunch before us and picked up his chopsticks. Oh, let's not let this go to waste. We should eat before it gets cold. I had no opening to follow up with anything now. I decided to eat the tempura.
Okay, so we're going into Minagishi's perspective, and I'm going to wrap this up here, and we will continue his story in the next part. We'll see how long it goes. So I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.